One rotation shift displaces us in all directions at once. I'd like to reach deeper understanding of such detail. Let's suppose some sensuous experience happens inside of me. In accordance with the resonance power, I take information from Oleg system, which starts to unpack to my temporal ethereal constituent. And then I put my perception on this moment. I'd like to dig into this a little bit deeper. Who am I then? We say that all of us are pharmacopies at this given moment, right? If we consider this discretely. But who is this I? Meaning, we can say I is the universal consciousness focus, and the focus of close attention is the part of this universal focus. The focus for me is a certain mechanism of our Luwu entity, which, to say so, cognizes itself by means of this focus. But what is this focus? How could I touch it? Is this kind of a mobile structure? How could I imagine it? Could you give me more thorough explanation about what it is in general? The focus of close attention doesn't exist as such, in the same way as the focus of dual reflection doesn't exist. But there is the rotation shift. I will explain this later, but the rotation shift doesn't exist too. There is a dynamics, some different qualitative dynamics in a single holographous point. Do you remember the difference between holographness and holographicness? Holographness is multidimensionality, different qualitativeness, different meaningfulness of information in one and the same dynamics, which potentially has been included. And the notion holographic pertains to the three-dimensional reality and can be manifested as hologram on the plane or in the space later in the future. There are no such holograms at present, but they will appear in the future. This will be holographness. So, there is something which continuously changes. A part of this something has possibility to be manifested in a definite, visually perceptible from there, or there, or there, but, in general, simultaneously and everywhere at once, though in different forms. I use the term one and the same in parentheses because it's not the same by information, though visually it's kind of the same. This something is related to another dynamics, the dynamics which I have subjectively defined as the temporal ethereal constituent. It also doesn't exist, in essence, because that initial dynamics, of which I said something exists, comprises this holographous part also, as potential possibility. This dynamics has been initially fixed in the inertial sequence. By whom has it been initially fixed? It has been initially fixed by us, who at the moment manifest own creativity in the forms of the fourth, fifth dimension. Only by us. Where does this focus come from? And what is the focus in general? It cannot be expressed as an arrow or a ray. The focus is a particular dynamics of a certain qualitative activity, which manifests in our life from Olak system. Something which is called the focus of close attention is needed for form's manifestation to take place in a single, complex configurational space. I would tell you that this would happen in information space. But I can't tell you this yet, because you will think then that you are inside of the Olak system. Although this will be more correct than my statement that you are present in space-time of worlds form a system. Because there is no space-time as such yet. It exists only in our subjective perception. It exists in the state only because of the fact that we use this focus of close attention. Because we as universal self-consciousness focus are attached to such primitive, elementary dynamics of the low qualitative information. Until we are here, in this dimensional diapason, we cannot be referred to as people, cannot be referred to as creators, as forma creators. Forma creators start from the 4th, 5th dimension and higher. We are our own creation of those of us who manifest their interest in the 4th, 5th dimension in accordance with their own self-actualization in other existence diapasons. Let me tell you something. I have ability to experience quite often, easily and permanently the levels which you aspire to. We cognize ourselves there, not only down to 0 dimension, but also in other diapasons. Though there is no sense to talk about it right now. I gave hints when I told, guys, I've opened just one place in our existence and started to dissect it in order to have a look what it is. Maybe it is a heel of the right foot of the future us. Maybe it is belly button. Maybe it's only a small cut on the ear. Maybe I've cut off just only one hair of the future us. And now I begin to expand all this. In order to expand it, I have to start from something. So I start only from what is accessible to me. Beyond the boundaries of what's accessible to me, I say, guys, I consider here to be a 0 dimension. All what's below it as if doesn't exist. But you know that an infinite multitude of other dimensions exists there. I have no opportunity to see higher than this diapason, which is the most qualitative to me. For example, to see what's going on there beyond the 36th dimension. Though maybe there can be millions of dimensions there. To that side, there, slantwise there, down slantwise there, and here. Different possibilities go everywhere in the form of different dimensions. And everything this happens in one instant, during one rotation shift. One rotation shift displaces us to all directions at once. This resembles Rubik's Cube, which rotates here and there, and all this depends on our internal states. Which of our self-consciousness levels we focus on. This is who we are at the moment, by means of whom we accept ourselves and the surrounding world, by means of which UV copy, by means of which file we perceive ourselves. The more qualitative UV copy is, the bigger information it contains. Therefore, there are much more possibilities for decision-making. The less qualitative form a copy is, the lesser information it keeps, and we can act restrictedly, only from here to there. This determines our focus of close attention, our interests, because we realize ourselves only this and not any other way. In the same way, you don't realize yourselves as those creators who have manifested you here, meaning manifested themselves here in this qualitative self-perception. I would say it differently. They didn't manifest you here. You did not manifest yourselves here. Energy plasma has materialized around you exactly due to the fact that you represent exactly such configurations. When you start to represent other configurations, other forms will structure your self-consciousness. You will be different, and your properties and potential possibilities will be different. Then you will be able to see and to learn things in which I try to convince you. And you won't have to ask me, Oris, what about this? What about that? Let me tell you, when you acquire this ability, you will be horrified. When you start to learn things in your meditations, you will be horrified with the issue as to how I managed to differentiate something, to construct something, to bring some analogies, some interrelations, to indicate something somehow, and to present to you in the form of a certain teaching, a certain knowledge. Even though I say to you, this doesn't exist, that doesn't exist. Forget about this. This is not correct. This is also not correct. But you don't think that this is that way. It's completely different. But I am slightly pulling you behind me, more and more and more by means of this knowledge. How am I pulling you? I change your quality for the better. You don't become worse, you become better. And this is the main task, because you automatically become better where I have removed you from such forms, from such conceptions, which guided you in your earlier life. There is no need for any manipulations with you. The most important task for me is to guide you to the most qualitative thinking, to the most qualitative feeling. And that's all, nothing more. Which methods I use to achieve this is not important. Because nothing exists in this shape, which you try to realize and perceive. The main task is to drag you out of this. But without it, you wouldn't have any experience in the higher quality and wouldn't make those more qualitative decisions, which are based on experiencing of such into which you delved really deeply now. So, the focus of close attention is the part of the universe which has been projected onto some of its kind of holographic parts in some localized interest direction.
голографичных своих частей в каком-то локализованном направлении интереса.